Box, please.
Now, Marc Cox, SoapBox.
Hey, raise your hand. Who wants to order a pizza pie? Oh, Liz wants to. Maybe a little crow along with that? Wow. I don't know about you. If you followed the story of Chris Summers at Pie Pizzeria over in the West End since last night, this story just took a turn that I never expected. Can I just tell you that? This dude committed restauranticide on Twitter last night, and then he doubled down today on Facebook. I couldn't make up this story. I'm not a creative enough writer, okay? Couldn't have done it. So Chris Summers, who was butthurt because he felt the police had been mean to him, went on Twitter and called St. Louis' finest dimwits. Then he accused them of terrorizing St. Louis with their militarized look and their riot gear, which, of course, was only put on to protect themselves from the idiots who are throwing rocks and stuff at them. So the website Blue Lives Matter picked up on this story and reported the tweets. Now, I didn't believe it at first. I went to his Twitter account to look, which he had locked down. Fortunately, they had taken screenshots of the tweets this guy put out. It's a good thing because at Summers CM immediately deleted his Twitter account. Apparently, he didn't appreciate the feedback he was getting from people who support law enforcement in this city. I have been in the media for nearly 30 years. I've seen people make some dumb statements, and I've seen a lot of those people recover at least some bit of goodwill by just apologizing. Not Chris Summers. He doubled down today in a way that will make Bill Clinton look like the Tooth Fairy. Can I just tell you that? And I know you got a mental image when I said that. I've got to read this response to you. So today, Chris Summers goes on Facebook, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to apologize and hope he can get a few of his customers back. Not. First of all, he claims that Friday night the police shot at him and gassed him. Well, so he was in the street where the protesters were, and one of those pepper balls got shot in his direction. Oh, he was heated. So he claims that he finally left his restaurant and drove down Euclid, saw a wall of militarized police marching in line toward his street. He stopped. He got out of the car. He wants to know who they were trying to intimidate, right? So he starts screaming at them for terrorizing his guests and hiding behind their shields and their guns. His words, not mine. I used a lot of expletives at these little men and women, hiding behind their shields and guns, terrorizing my guests who pay their salaries. Then he cried to the ACLU, who told him that, quote, their aggression against my language makes their crime even more egregious. I'm reading this thinking, dude, if you were worried already about hurting your business, you're hosed. Donald Trump might say, you got schlonged, because that's what's going to happen here. Can I just tell you that? He goes on to attack the folks in Blue Lives Matter. I have become public enemy. I forgot. When he was outside, a tear gas canister landed near him while he was screaming expletives at the police. And the guy next to him picked it up and threw it back at him. Of course, how do police respond when you throw things at them? Rather negatively. But it's the police's fault because they were over-militarized and overly aggressive. So he goes on to say he's become public enemy number one to every Blue Lives Matter fanboy. They've been terrorizing his teams on the phone. They threatened his business. They claimed his businesses were protected by the police. But he claims, Chris Summers, that it was his team that kept their business safe all night and barely the police department itself. Goes on. This thing is 2 pages long. He cries about how much support he's given to police through the years, but no good deed goes unpunished. And this is where you get to the truth of his complaint. If you look at the Blue Lives Matter people, they all have Trump and Make America a Great Again tags in their profiles. See, you see this? He's an angry snowflake. Are you picking up on this? He blames the SLMPD for not catching any of the criminals who've assaulted and robbed him, his business, and his employees through the years. They have not protected him, and sometimes they've not shown up when he's called them. He calls it systematic racism and corruption in the SLMPD. That cops can do no wrong. They defend each other to no end. The authoritarian code in the police department transcends their work. It influences their politics. It informs their faith. It's disgusting, and it was critical to the election of Donald Trump. Folks, what we have here in Chris Summers is another snowflake who's still butthurt from the results of the election last year. That's what led him into the street to protest against the very police officers that used to eat in his restaurant. And then at the end, he demands that Lyda Crewson fire Chief O'Toole because he's a leader of the corruption and the incompetence in the SLMPD. Also at the end here, Liz, you put your finger on the button if you want. I'm reading from his quote. The Blue Lives Matter assholes are physically threatening me and my business. It's what his words, not mine. With hundreds of one-star reviews on Yelp, Google, and Facebook. Hint, hint. You can go to Yelp, Google, and Facebook and apparently judge this guy's restaurant. Who knew? So he's begging his people that support him to go out and try to counter that in some way. This is unbelievable. You know what it all boils down to? Even though Donald Trump had zero to do with the Stockley case or the protests destroying property in the around his business there in the Central West End, Chris Summers blames all of his trouble on Trump supporters. Remember, Summers is the guy who loved Obama. He even went to the White House to cook pizza for him. I still ate in his restaurant after that because it didn't bother me. He can support who he wants. But this is what he's missed here. I have eaten at his restaurant many times. I know a lot of conservatives who've driven down to Euclid and McPherson specifically to eat his pizza. In one fell swoop. All due to his anger over the last election and his inability to accept somebody with a different opinion, he has alienated thousands of current and potential customers. I'm not calling for a boycott of his restaurant. I'm not. Because I don't have to. I won't eat there again by choice. It appears to me that his preference would be that deplorables and dim-witted police supporters everywhere avoid pie as well. I think he's got another restaurant too. It's my 2 cents. 314-960.